Good morning. It is 8 a.m. on the 28th of September. It's a Monday morning here in Auckland. My name is Arran Hunt. I'm a partner here at Stace Hammond and I head up the Migration Partners team. Now this is going to be a short video, just something that we saw on the weekend. As always, this is not legal advice. This is just our commentary on what's happening with immigration in New Zealand. If you want legal advice, give us a call, give us an email. Now this is just something in regards that thank you to Ryomi Taipei, sorry if I say your name wrong, who brought this to my attention. They posted about this on a Facebook group that I'm on, and this is in relation to managed isolation or quarantine, as we're sort of calling it most of the time. Now, as it currently stands, anyone coming to New Zealand is required to do 2 weeks of managed isolation or quarantine. Basically, you spent 2 weeks in a hotel. There has been a change to this, which has happened to have come in, I think, during the weekend. It hasn't been widely announced. So far it's been managed very much by New Zealand sort of controlling the number of airlines that can bring people into the country. So they've limited the flights coming in, so people like Qatar Airways are flying in empty planes, where New Zealand has limited the flights coming in. This allows the government to New Zealand to control the number of flights coming in and the number of people going into quarantine, because there's only so many spaces available. Now, announced on the from the website over the weekend, on the government website, is the requirement to secure your place in managed isolation. So prior to coming to New Zealand, you will have to register for managed isolation and have been given a voucher for managed isolation. Now, how it's going to work is that you fill out the form, you make an application for a certain date. If you get that voucher, you can then fly in on that day, and you are going to require to have this voucher before you board your flight. Without that voucher, your airline should block you from flying. Now this comes into effect from people coming in between 5th of October and the 2nd November. They are encouraging people to have this voucher, confirming allocation for that flight. People who arrive at the airport without a voucher during this grace period will still be able to board their flight, but they'll have a longer check-in period when they arrive in New Zealand. Those arriving from the 3rd of November onwards will be required to have that voucher before flying, so your airline should stop you from flying if you do not have that voucher. I think this is probably a sensible solution. Now you can register on your own, you can register with a family on the basis that you'll be staying together and sharing rooms. There doesn't seem to be an allowance to book with other individuals to stay at the same place, so you could be allocated different spots if you are travelling with friends. I think this is how it's going to be. You'll still have the cost of managed isolation or quarantine, as we've had previously. There doesn't seem to be any sort of choice to choose whether you want different levels of service in different hotels. Now, flights purchased before the allocation system goes live means that you have that grace period between 5th of October and 2nd November, that grace period then. If you have booked flights prior to this being announced and to arrive on or after 3rd of November, there will be a process will be in place soon that will allow you to request a managed isolation voucher, and we assume that they will be given priority if you can prove you already have a ticket booked. Everybody else should look at trying to coordinate the flights with the managed isolation. Now we don't know yet as to how hard it's going to be to get a voucher. We do know that a number of difficulties getting flights out of certain countries, especially India. It's difficult to find flights. So until we sort of get more information from the government, it's going to be one of those sort of chicken and egg scenarios. Do you book your flights and then hope for isolation? Do you get the isolation voucher and then hopefully you can book your flights? At the moment, with how hard the flights are to get, more likely probably to book your flights first and then get the managed isolation. But I think the government needs to provide more information. Now, as this has just been announced or just been provided on the website in the last few days, we would expect to have something more from the government in the next few days to explain the process, and even hopefully to suggest how you should book flights and whether you should be doing the flight booking first before the isolation booking. because if they're both difficult to get, I think it's going to be very hard to come into the country and trying to coordinate the two systems at once. So that's it, quick short video. I'll put a link to the government website here. Again, thank you to the people on the forum for letting us know about this, and we'll come back to you when we have more information. Kia kaha, all the best, and we'll see you later in the week.